Hello, good evening, welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on Isabata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, we unpack the conversation and the controversy surrounding the allegations of embezzlement against a former Director General of the National Signal Bureau, the search of the house of the former Bank of Ghana governor, and some related matters, and the Operation Recover or Loot. Now, our conversation tonight is with the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Ramsay. Also, we have eyes on the fight against illegal mining because it's becoming very complicated and high-risk enterprise. Day by day, as illegal miners overpower Forest Commission guards, we understand one Forest Commission guard is battling for his life as we speak. Also, impressive performance by the Black Stars in the ongoing World Cup 2026 qualifiers, and Ghana against Madagascar in this 3-0 victory to solidify their Group 1 leadership. We're here, and also some reactions from some persons who watch the game closely. Stay with us. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. So for Ghana Briefs.
Brace yourself for a rumble in the jungle. The words of Dr. Dominic Ayine as he dropped details on ongoing investigations into corruption-related matters by some officials of the previous administration. Dr. Dominic Ayine, at a media briefing today, revealed how some 39 million cedis was embezzled by former director of the National Signals Bureau.
An hour to the arrival of the British Airways flight 078 in Accra, EOCO received intelligence that a name similar to that of suspect Kobina Edubohin, he had changed from K. Edubohin to O. Edubohin in the manifest, maybe on the British Airways flight. The suspect had slightly altered his name on all, the name that is reflected on all his passports. Around 9 p.m. on March 21st, the suspect was stopped by Ghana Immigration Service as he attempted to use a commercially important person CIP terminal.
The minority in Parliament has asked the Attorney General to stop intimidating former government appointees and political opponents. According to the caucus, the AG is abusing his office in ordering raids, arrests and seeking to convict political opponents in the court of public opinion instead of going to courts.
Power does not give permission for illegal raids, power abuse or intentional harassment of political opponents. The Attorney General is abusing his office in ordering raids and conducting investigations. He is no longer acting as an officer of the court, but is instead acting as someone who has conducted his own inquisition, determined guilt of a suspect, and is seeking to force his view or his views on the courts.
Before the Ghana National Fire Service concludes its investigations on what might have caused the fire at the Edu Market in the Ashanti region, some minority MPs have alleged that the fire was caused by erratic power supply. MP for Subin, Kofi Obriyeboah, made a statement on the floor of the House on Monday.
Almost 2,000 shops and uncountable goods were gutted by the fire. In my interaction with affected traders and eyewitnesses, Mr. Speaker, it was revealed that this fire was allegedly triggered by Dumso. Power had been out. The moment electricity was restored, it sparked and triggered the fire.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana and Chairman of the Monetary Policy Committee, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has raised concerns over Ghana's fiscal trajectory and its implications for the ongoing IMF-supported program. He was speaking at the opening of his inaugural MPC deliberations, the 123rd since the committee's inception.
Some of today's challenges, as we may be aware, stem from earlier monetary and fiscal policy missteps, particularly loose fiscal policy during periods of macro stress, the weak monetary fiscal consolidation, and delays in key structural reforms in the recent past.
Lawyer of Sarah Ejay, the second accused person in the theft of valuables from the home of former sanitation minister Cecilia Benadapa, has claimed in court that alleged stolen jewelry belonged to the late wife of Otumfuo Osei Tutu I and has since been returned. He noted that the former minister was wrongfully accusing his client of theft when the item was not in her custody anymore.
It's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight, and as always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, and Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Happy Smile. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the fight against illegal mining is becoming very, very complicated and high risk enterprise. Day by day, as illegal miners reported to have overpowered Forestry Commission officials, and we've got some information on that we're going to get into shortly. But let me just remind you, as we advertised earlier today, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Edem Shemsai, is our guest for the exclusive interview. He's going to be joining us in the studio. In fact, he's with us right now in the studio. But we've got to deal with this matter because despite the heightened efforts by government to combat illegal mining, known as Galamsey, and protect the nation's forest reserves, illegal miners continue to operate with impunity, causing severe environmental damage. Now, we're going to show you pictures of what we got in this shocking incident on Sunday morning. A forest guard was attacked by illegal miners at the Ofin Shelter Belt Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. Now, the attack occurred when forestry officials from the Inkaria division were conducting routine monitoring in the reserve. Now, we've got pictures of that we will put on the screen in a bit. The victim, 26-year-old Foseini Sulemana, is now battling for his life following machete wounds he sustained during the attack. Now, the Ofin Shelter Belt Reserve is one of the 9 forest reserves we understand previously identified in the matters when it comes to illegal mining in the forest reserves overrun by illegal miners. Now, although government has claimed to have reclaimed these 7 out of the 9 reserves, including the Ofin Shelter Belt, this latest incident raises questions about the said report and the effectiveness of the effort on the ground. That's the concern that a number of these persons who are watching how things are playing out are raising right now. Are armed illegal miners returning to these protected areas, and how protected are they? If they have been reclaimed from these illegal miners, what exactly is the situation on the ground? Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe is a convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining. He's joining us on the telephone right now. Engineer, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Quite concerning, to say the least. This latest report we're hearing about this Forestry Commission guard, forestry officer, we understand, who has been attacked by these illegal miners, sustained machete wounds as we speak right now. What exactly is the latest update that you have received on this matter?
Well, thank you very much, he's stable now. He's out of danger, but he's still in hospital and at Kofanochi, and he's being treated. But you see, this is the reason why we, as the coalition, we insist that the president needs to declare a state of emergency. We have part of our territory that have been taken over by armed militia a lot of them who are not even Ghanaian. So this is a state of war. When the IGP talks about the declaration of war, it is just in response to the situation that is at hand. So this 7 forest reserves that have been turned from red to yellow, they will quickly go back to red, because these guys, these criminals have these people, and I am pretty sure that in dealing with it, we were not able to arrest all of these people, disarm them, and all of that. And what they have is that they have pockets of these militia spread throughout the country. And it is the reason why the state of emergency is important. All the ingredients in the Constitution require a state of emergency that can be declared in parts of this country. These forest reserves, and by extension some of the water bodies, definitely qualify for that. And you cannot be putting the lives of these, forestry commission people who are not that well armed. In the face of these police people, these criminal-minded gangs were able to assault 2 journalists on humanitarian of multimedia and accuracy of the CTFM. And you see, this issue of their outgunning and outnumbering the police and our forces is not new. In the past government, the Eastern Regional Minister had gone on an operation with 30 officers. When by the time they got there, considering the ammunition and the number of people, they had to retreat. And so to be able to deal with them, we need a state of emergency, and we need to unleash the full force of the army. In some of these areas, you would want to be able to get the Air Force flying sorties over these places, and then be able to deal with these challenges that we have. Get the army on there and make sure that we use commensurate force to be able to deal with these people who have taken part of our territory. You think it's for nothing that the South African government, when they got some of these illegal miners, most of which were foreigners, that had gone into some of these states, and they decided that they were going to cut supply to them. We need to, realize the fact that we are in a state of war. Why do you think that in the case of UK, when they had those riots coming up, they set up specialized courts, and within 24 hours are able to arrest people and take them there? And we are dealing with these issues with kid gloves. It is, for me, that's my pain. When the president was in opposition, when, the deputy minister for the attorney general were in opposition, they all agreed with us on the need for the declaration of a state of emergency. And I don't know what has changed. And that's now is no more on the card. It is important that we declare it in that part of the country that have become ungovernable, where we were almost losing life, in some of these areas, so that once you are able to, contain the situation, reclaim the situation, deal with the issues of all of these people, then you can do the other things like the gold board, you can do the water cards going there. But in the situation of war that we currently have, you need to match their force with the necessary force of the state.
Right. So for you, to the extent that even the position now is that LI 2462, for instance, is going to be amended and not necessarily repealed as you were demanding, plus this slow pace in carrying out that demand of the declaration of the state of emergency, you're questioning the commitment, the government to fight illegal mining?
I am not too sure I would blankly say I'm questioning the commitment. But there are some of the things that are being done that are counterproductive, that will not advance the fight. So apart from this obnoxious law that, the president, when he was in power, said that he was going to revoke or repeal it, where even the NPP itself, had a document that was going to revoke it. You also have the situation where the Minister for Interior is talking about deporting foreigners who are arrested, forgetting that the Minerals and Mining Act, as amended in 2019, prescribes stiffer punishment for these foreigners. And also forgetting that Aisha Wan, when she was deported, found herself back again in the commission of these crimes. So there are some of the elements that definitely do not augur well. Though we have seen some other elements that are also in the right direction. But these things, especially the issue about containing the illegality, containing the national security crisis, that we are confronted with, and which has come to the full force with the attack, on this Forestry Commission person. And if you do your checks, you will find out that some of them even have lost their lives in this particular fight. Some of them have lost their lives. And if you are not careful, the morale of the Forestry Commission staff will be dampened. And so it is important that His Excellency the President and all the advisors of him, declare the state of emergency in this part of the country and we've completely lost control over, and make sure that we can restore it permanently, and make sure that these foreign, troops that are on our land, these foreign forces that are on our land, these illegal people who are fully armed, we are dealing with them decisively, such that they cannot wear their object. But the way we are treating them, it looks as if Ghana is cheap. So even a lot of them are from our neighboring countries. They won't do the things they are doing in their country. The Chinese, for example, they won't even think the thing they do. They can't even think it silently in their head, because they know the repercussions when they do that in their country. But they come here and we treat them with kid gloves, and they come and they are butchering our Forestry Commission people. It is important that His Excellency the President does the needful and supports the things that he's doing, including asking those who are in his government that you cannot do mining. Those are all positive steps. But this particular one, if he's not careful, it would derail everything that he's doing. Another thing that he's also not done, he's also not dealt with his people who have been accused of involvement. The MP for Awin, for example, we've not heard the President talk about it. The NDC constituency chairperson for the Axim area, we've not heard the President talk about it. Konka Mine, for example, who's also told from the other political, and we've not heard the President talk about that. If he does not deal with also the political elements who are involved in this fight, it will be difficult for him. He will be fighting it, but he would lose the fight eventually. Engineer
Dr. Kanashigbe, appreciate you for this. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Engineer Dr. Kanashigbe is the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Then we're keeping an eye on this particular story of this member of the Forestry Commission's rapid response team battling for his life after being attacked by armed illegal miners in the Offin Shelter Belt Forest Reserve. And stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. But coming up next, exclusive interview that I spoke to you about, we've been talking about for a while now. We unpack the controversy surrounding the allegations of embezzlement against the former Director General of the National Signal Bureau, the search of the house of the former Bank of Ghana governor, Dr. Addison, and matters relating to the Operation Recover or Loot. Our guest tonight for this in-person interview exclusively is the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai, is joining us in the studio right now. But I want to take a look at, we started from the point where the minority earlier today in Parliament addressed the press, reinforcing their position that regardless of the explanation given by the Attorney General and his deputy about the search, or they still call it, they want to still maintain that it's a raid on the house of the former governor of the central bank. They believe that this warrant was not carried out legally. This is Jerry Ahmed, second minority whip in Parliament, speaking to the media earlier today. Look.
The Attorney General is an officer of the court. His interest is to assist the court in dispensing justice when investigators bring their case and evidence. The poster of the new AG undermines this rule. He is no longer acting as an officer of the court, but is instead acting as someone who has conducted his own inquisition, determined guilt of a suspect, and is seeking to force his view or his views on the courts. The practice undermines the role of the Attorney General and undermines the administration of justice. All well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on it to an end, and to end it now as we speak. We are asking that all well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on the Attorney General to put an end to this immediately. The Attorney General is not expected to start off by prejudicing an investigation and in his mind conducting an inquisition on suspects. Since when did we have an Attorney General who himself orders arrest, conducts investigations, and examines his own evidence to determine if a prima facie case is being documented or docketed against a suspect? This is highly improper and leads to bias right from the investigation process. Let the court decide the guilt or innocence of suspects. The new approach where the Attorney General seeks to convict political opponents in the court of public opinion before going to the court of competent jurisdiction is an abomination that should not be countenanced. The courts of Ghana are the only ones that should be allowed to convict or acquit, not the Attorney General. How can you suspect a person who is innocent until proven guilty by a court, not take that person through the court processes, but come to conduct public show of your suspicions?
So that's the minority in Parliament. This concern about the Attorney General now coming to the public and you know, expressing his opinion about some of the cases that is being investigated is one that has not only been questioned by the minority, but also we have a statement that came through from the lawyers of Eduboahin, the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, which we'll get into. But this is the warrant that the Attorney General and his deputy all referenced that legalizes the exercise they undertook at the residence of the former governor of the central bank. Let me just welcome Dr. Edem Sremsai, he's a Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Thank you very much, my brother.
It's good to have you.
And good evening to your viewers.
First off, now today we got a copy of this warrant, which you referenced last week when some colleague journalists, you know, had you speak to it as to whether there was a warrant that guided that exercise at the former governor of the central bank's residence. So this is it. This warrant issued by Justice Ali Baba Abaturi, Justice of the High Court. The concern is not so much about whether or not there was a warrant, because you've answered that question. The issue they're raising now is whether this warrant was executed legally, to the extent that some of the happenings at the former governor's residence was illegal and out of line. That's where their concern is, that his security was overpowered. Was there any resistance?
Thank you very much. Let me just take us back to what warrants are meant for. Warrants are the authority of the courts, you know, giving permission or directing an officer to go to a particular place and conduct a search with the aim of gathering evidence in respect of a particular allegation. So what we have before what the warrant is about is to go to a particular house, which is Dr. Addison's home, and conduct a search. Now, the search was conducted. As far as we've had two briefings on this from the national security. As far as the search was concerned, when the officers go to Dr. Addison's home, they showed him the warrant.
They showed him the warrant?
The warrant.
Well, Jerry Ahmed says, per the information they have, Dr. Addison didn't see the warrant. He wasn't shown the warrant, you know, for him to know what the search was about.
I don't want to comment on what Honorable Jerry Shaib is saying. Because as far as I'm concerned, he is a lawyer. He knows that if you have anything that happened in this kind of situation, where you are alleging that properties have been stolen, that properties were destroyed, and nobody, no law, no court gives a person a warrant to go and steal someone's property. No one gives a court a warrant to go and misconduct themselves in another person's house. So when some of these things happen, you would expect, being a lawyer, that you will advise Dr. Addison, who himself is a consummate intellectual and who has the capacity to do a lot of things by himself, being a senior public servant, to take steps to report to the police. So if you have decided or you have chosen not to make any report to the police, yet you want to force the public to accept the allegation you are making, which obviously has no basis, how would I address such an issue? There is only one place that an official like myself or the persons who conducted this search can justify themselves. That is when a formal complaint is made and there's an investigation in that complaint. Even when something is stolen in an ordinary person's home, the first advice anybody gives them is report to the police. So if you have refused to give any advice, legal advice to someone, yet you find it comfortable to stand in front of Parliament and be propagating a particular allegation, which is not born out of any facts. All we can do is to put our story, what we know from our investigation, from our briefing, to the public, so that the public will know what it is. Until such a platform has been created by a report, I don't know what else anyone wants us to do with the information being brought.
I see. So as we speak, the Attorney General's office doesn't have knowledge of any report of Dr. Addison to the police about this 10,000 CDs that is said to have been stolen from his house? He hasn't reported it to the police?
No report of that kind has been made.
And he hasn't reported the said jewelry that was stolen from his house? No police report?
No police report. No formal complaint has been made to the National Security Council. No formal report has been made to the Attorney General. No official report has been made anywhere. As a matter of fact, you see, it is not every information that we can put out in the public domain. But we are patiently waiting for such allegations to be made, because we have sufficient basis to say that the allegation is false. And once we are given the official platform to prove this, we will put in all the evidence that shows that people have just decided to play with the emotions of the Ghanaian by concocting stories and attributing such stories to Dr. Addison.
Well, but Jerry Ahmed says the National Security Coordinator had cause to make a phone call on Richard Jakpe's phone to Dr. Addison, apologizing for the actions of the operatives during that search. You're saying that's not true? Never happened?
Alfred, there are so many reasons why someone can apologize. Okay, if I'm a responsible national security coordinator and I hear that someone is alleging that my officers have done something to the person which is unlawful, the first thing I will do is to call to apologize to the person and promise that I will investigate it. I will not dismiss the person's concern and just say that because of what my officials have told me, what you are saying is not true. The first thing I will do as an official is to call and apologize. That apology should not mean an admission that what some third parties are alleging is true.
So are you saying that, yes, there was a call? The National Security Coordinator called Dr. Addison?
Well, I am not privy to that fact. But I'm saying that even if that is the case, it shouldn't be a situation where...
Sorry, forgive me. Right.
It shouldn't be a situation we should, even if that's the case that you made that apology. My point is that should not defeat the fact, or should not be a basis for someone to say that the allegation that a third party is making is true.
Well, there's been that call that it is your word now against the minority still insisting, making further comments. Dr. Addison himself hasn't spoken about this. So the likes of Martin Kpebu is recommending that there should be a commission of inquiry so that both sides will be heard and the truth established, so that if it is the minority or Alexander Apenyomakin who is not saying the truth, then some action could be taken. But then if you are also not the ones putting out the facts of the situation, then action will be taken. I want us to listen to Martin Kpebu. I spoke to him earlier on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, and I want you to respond to that recommendation. Let's take a listen to it.
Follow those who are saying it's just political talk. You mean you can just stand and let some people just deceive millions of citizens in the name of just political talk? In a way that this one, we have no way of verifying. If, let's say, it was growth of an economy, and then let's say NPP are putting their own interpretation on it, we all have the basic facts. Then it depends on how you want to interpret. There are different ways of interpreting. That's different. This one, it is either a call was made to Governor Addison to apologize, or it was not made. The rest of that, there is no way we'll ever know until we go to the bottom of it. Two, our residents at the beginning was that 10,000 stolen, this necklaces, etc. of Mrs. Addison stolen. So let's go into it.
It says, get into the matter and let us all know that indeed, because you're saying that there are some facts that you have, that if the right forum is created, you will present it to disprove what Afenyomakin and Jerry Ahmed Shaibu have said to the public. But until that form is created, then what? We're all going to be kept in the dark as to who is telling the truth and who is lying?
I don't think we are being kept in the dark. What is happening here is that it's like someone accusing you right now that you've done something. You have come to deny it. The person said what you are saying is untrue. What else do you do? So
you continue to disprove what the person has said.
You know, the issue we are dealing with is also a matter of privacy.
Right.
For example, if we conducted this search and we have videos of the whole search process, are we supposed to put it on the internet for people to watch in the bid of what? Refuting what the third party is saying? That would be a violation of what? Dr. Addison's home, privacy of his home. Because the search warrant does not allow us to take a video of his premises and show that video to the public.
But do you have a video of the search?
Alfred, that is not the issue here. The issue is that, do we have a platform where we can disprove this? Who is supposed to create that platform? Like I said, when the complaint was heard from the minority, we did a second briefing. And we required of the officials everything that we need to watch, everything that we need to listen to, everything that we need to look at to be able to come to a conclusion whether they have conducted themselves in accordance with the terms of the warrant. What I'm saying is that if it is true that the officials went there to steal food, to steal money, to steal jewelry, we are saying that the person who has lost all these things has a duty, not just a right, has a duty to report to the police so that there will be investigations into this matter. You know, so if we do not have such a complaint, I mean, it's as if the police cannot just be, someone must complain and then we will respond to it, because the administrative processes at the Attorney General's Department, the administrative processes at the BNI, NIB, there are administrative processes at the National Security Council for addressing all these issues, which I believe all the lawyers in the minority are aware of, which I believe Dr. Addison, being a senior public officer, is aware of, which I believe the family members of Dr. Addison are aware of. If these people are not taking the steps, what else are we supposed to do? And I think that it appears some people enjoy, you know, this act of confusing the public for whatever reason. But I think that both the minority leader and most of the lawyers in the minority are aware that if something is missing in your house, whether you know who took it or not, the first thing you are required to do if you want to be taken seriously is to what? To make a report. So if you have refused to make such a report, and we have done all the investigation that we could do, and we are coming out with a position, I think it's only fair that you require them to make the complaint so we can have a fair and an impartial hearing to this matter. But I don't want us to be detained on this matter
indeed, to the extent that others who are concerned about how this could also create a public disaffection for the national security apparatus itself if it is not disproved. That's where the concern is, that then you don't have to just leave things hanging.
How about the person who is making the allegation, proving that this allegation I'm making is true? You know, they are making an allegation that people have stolen their things. Are they not interested in proving the allegation? If you had the opportunity to ask any of the members of the minority who are saying this, and I can tell you on authority that we have basis to say that the allegation the minority are making is completely false, has no basis, because the person who is involved, who is Dr. Addison, has his own view on this matter, which is completely opposite to what the minority is saying.
He has his own view.
Which is not just his own view, a view which is completely opposite what the minority is saying, and a view which completely aligns with our position.
That no money was stolen.
Nothing of that happened. The search was conducted in accordance with the terms of the warrant. It was done cordially, and there was nothing untoward that he reported to us. Because when I told you that we had a second review, what I'm trying to tell you is that we have taken the steps that we have to take within this circumstance to make that point.
I see. I heard the Attorney General say that you have a video recording or a recording of the governor, Addison, during the search. And that if Afenyomakin pushes you, you're going to find a way of putting that out.
I have just told you.
When are you going to make that available? Or it's dependent on the actions of Afenyomakin?
You see, these are matters of privacy as well.
Okay.
And I think that it is only fair that we do not expose Dr. Addison's home, his communications, which enjoy privacy right protection, to the public without a lawful process. Okay. That is why I kept saying that if the platform is created for a lawful disclosure of these things, we will go ahead and disclose whatever we have. But we cannot put these matters out simply because a third party, a meddlesome interloper, is somewhere making an allegation. And then because of that, we will jump and put some of these things out. If they are making the allegation, and when you ask them, they always say that, well, this is what Dr. Addison told us. But
there's no record of any police report.
No,
on
absolutely.
this said alleged 10,000.
We have always encouraged Dr. Addison to come and make those reports, and none has been made so far.
Well, the next issue, which was, in fact, the most part of the press conference today, was the said or alleged embezzlement of some monies, 39 million cedis, by the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau. I want us to take a listen to the Attorney General, the first part of a number of the things that he said, and I'll run you through the property that these monies are alleged to have been used to purchase by the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau. But there's supposed to be some thriller in Manila. Let's take a look at this.
We are working diligently on several dossiers that will shock the conscience of the nation. If what suspect Edu Boahen and his wife has done is like a thriller in Manila, please brace yourself for a rumble in the jungle in the next few weeks. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
In the jungle in the next few weeks. The next few weeks going to look like rumble in the jungle?
Alfred, one of the things that the Attorney General has made clear from the day he assumed office, and which the President John Mahama himself has made clear, is that they are never going to use the criminal justice system to persecute, humiliate, or embarrass anyone. The criminal justice system will only be used to do its proper work, which is what? To try cases in respect of which evidence, sufficient evidence has been gathered. So you would observe that for the past weeks, we at the Attorney General's Department have been silent on all the things we have done. And that is why I believe when this press conference was had, people were shocked because how did you do all these things without anyone knowing up to today? Because we cannot put out information merely because someone has said it. We can only put out information when we believe that the evidence we have is sufficient to ground an action in court. And so, when we look, in this particular, there are other, the accused persons are about 50, the suspects are about 15. 15 suspects.
In this National Signals Bureau alleged diversion of funds case. 15,
as at the last time I checked. And it keeps growing because when you follow the money, it exposes you to another company. Then you find the company directors and members. Then you follow that. So we have more than 12 companies involved here. And we keep discovering these companies as we investigate along. And I'm saying that we cannot put all these things out. In fact, what we have done is just the minimum, exposure that we have given to the facts and the things that we have. And that is why the Attorney General is saying that if you are surprised by today, what you will see in the coming days will even shock your conscience, because you cannot believe what the investigations are revealing.
I see, but how long have you been investigating this particular case?
For about a month now, we have been on this project.
About a month?
A month. And throughout this period, we have never mentioned this to anybody. We have never said anything about it. Not because we don't have anything to talk about, but because at the time, we did not believe that we have sufficient evidence to bring someone's reputation or someone's image into disrepute. Because look, in this country, even when the police arrest you, the conclusion in the minds of many is that you are guilty.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what you say. A mere arrest is a sign of what? Criminality in this country. We are very much conscious of that. That is why we will not, under any circumstance, drag people into the public domain merely because someone has pointed fingers at them that they have done anything. We only do it when we have sufficient evidence. And in this case, the accused person was arrested on Thursday night. Thursday night?
That's Edu Boahen.
Edu Boahen. The suspect. We could have announced to the public that moment that he was arrested. But that was the time that we needed to confirm certain things. It was after Friday, Saturday, that we've taken the accused person through. We've granted him his right to counsel, and his lawyers were present. He was shown to various, some of the properties that you see. The accused person has been taken to those properties to verify certain things. All those were done before we brought this out. And I'm saying that my boss, the Attorney General, has made it clear that he's never going to put anyone out there, either in the criminal justice system or in the public domain for conversation, unless he has sufficient evidence to support, to ground his action. And that is what we are seeing now.
I see, but you arrested him on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Is he still in custody?
I believe so. The last time I checked this evening, he was still in custody.
Have you charged him and the wife?
No, they've not been formally charged, but they've been cautioned. They've
been cautioned. No, I'm asking this question because, 48-hour rule. If you arrested them on Thursday...
They're actually on bail. What is left now is for them to fulfill the bail conditions.
So they're on bail, and because they haven't fulfilled the bail conditions, they are still in custody.
I think that is what usually, we cannot let you go when you have not fulfilled the bail condition.
So this is the 260,000 cedis bail?
Yeah.
That's for both of them?
Yeah.
Is it 260 combined or 260 each?
260 each.
For the husband and wife?
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's not just one person that we have in custody.
How many?
It's okay. It's just enough for you to know that it's not just two. It's not just one.
So it's not just Mr. Dubois and his wife.
My point. That's exactly the point I've been making.
No, but you said there are 15 persons.
15 suspects.
Suspects.
Yeah.
Well, so am my viewers and I
and
to
some have been
that
arrested and also allowed to. Granted bail and they have satisfied and they are gone. Some have been questioned and they have been allowed to go.
I see. So these 15 persons, some of them have been arrested and are in custody with Dubois and his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, but some have also been granted bail.
Yeah, some were just questioned and
they were questioned.
And they're allowed to go.
I see. And well, let's take a look at these the said properties that you said that the monies have been used to purchase. But let's take a look at this. These are this Kobna Dubois and Angela J. Boatin. That's the couple.
Yeah, the couple.
So number 9, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estate, La Accra. $270,000. That's the estimated value of this property in that estate is $270,000, and that has been purchased and is owned by them. $150,000, another one, number 10, and then Vertex Properties in Oyarefa, a gated estate development. This is one that shocked a number of people when they saw it. The alleged purchase of some 27 houses by this couple, and each costing $295,000, and a total of 127 million Ghana cedis. I don't know if it's the prevailing rate at the time or now, because let's go back because that purchase was made which year?
Actually, I'm not able to see what's on there.
I see, but is this part of the 27 houses and these estates? Have all these properties been verified? Because you say that you took them to some of the properties.
That was done in respect of some of the properties.
Some of them?
Yeah.
Is it inclusive of these 27 houses they are said to have been to have purchased?
Yes, part of the 27 have been
verified.
Yeah. That
they purchased the 27 houses.
There are receipts to that effect in the custody, and this is some of the payments were made in cash, others were made with bank transfer. And you see, one thing about investigation is that they say you should follow the money. So the money leads you to where you are going, and that is what happens. So when you follow the money, you could discover some of these things.
And properties were purchased in alleged were purchased in London.
That is true.
2 properties in London.
That is true, in the name of the couple.
Well, let's flip to the next, because this is not the only one that let's put it. 2020, February, that's 16 million Ghana cedis. 16 million Ghana cedis. You say this is a fixed deposit from the payment received from BNC National Security. What does this really mean? And this 16 million, what's the origin of this money?
So this is what happened. There is a state institution called Bureau of National Communication, BNC.
Right.
Then, so this is a legitimate state institution. Then there is another company incorporated known as BNC Communication Bureau. So note the BNC commonality.
Right.
So there's a BNC, which is the state agency.
And then the BNC, which is a private
company, owned by the couple. They incorporated and they are both the shareholders and directors. So that is owned by them. Then there is a third party selling some gadgets. So this, Mr. Duboahene is the director of this state institution called BNC. And he's also the shareholder and a director in the private BNC. Now, the BNC, so government is about to buy some equipment, intelligence equipment from an Israeli company. Now, normally what you should expect is that the government will pay the money from its bank account directly to the seller of the equipment. That is what happens. Now, in this case, what happens is that the government takes the money moves from the government's account to this private company's account, and then part of the money, 25% of it, is used to purchase the equipment, and then the 75% of the quoted amount, which was supposed to be used to purchase the equipment, is now, moved from the government account. So as far as the government is concerned, they have bought the equipment for 7 million. However, 25% of the 7 million was what was used to pay for the equipment. Now, the 75%, which goes to that's about $6 million, dollars, is what now moved from the government account to this private company and never went out again to the sellers of the equipment, but rather went out into other accounts. Now, when you follow that account, you realize that the money moves from there to company A. Then you follow company A, then you realize that company A is the company of the director of BNC, who is also the shareholder and director here. Then you follow to other companies and realize that there is actually a mother company which is owned by the same person, and there are about 5 companies which are subsidiaries, and the money goes through all of them. So you follow one company, it leads you to another, you follow to another, then you realize that, okay, properties have been bought in the names of these companies, and when you check the ownership of these companies, then you realize that it's the same person. This is what we are talking about, a very sophisticated, arrangement of companies to achieve this purpose.
I'm going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we'll get into a response from the lawyers of Duboahene and his wife, indicating that they really don't agree with what the Attorney General is doing as we speak, and it amounts to romancing the media with all of these allegations and the others that they put out there. Stay with us. Dr. Edem Sremsai is still with us in the studio. We're back shortly. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and we're getting information as well that some of the other radio stations across, in fact, outside of the country are picking this conversation. So we acknowledge that. But Dr. Justice Adam Shremsai is a Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Republic of Ghana. He's still with us in the studio. My producers gave me indication that we're going to go beyond 11 o'clock today for this special conversation for good reason. But before we went on that break, I was just running through the properties that the Attorney General put out in that statement today. And just the first part of it is what you saw. The second part, let's put that on the screen right now. As was reported by the Attorney General earlier today. What we do know is that there was also, apart from this 16 million cedis fixed deposit allegedly, from the payment received from this BNC National Security, which you have explained, the said equipment that was reported to have been purchased, or what was to be purchased with the amount from the state coffers, is that equipment available at the National Security or the National Signals Bureau? Have you found it?
Our investigators are yet to find the equipment, and so they are frantically looking for it.
So even though there's a record of some equipment being bought, you can't find the equipment?
Yeah, the equipment, we are unable to, they are still searching for the equipment and the software that was purchased. So that would be...
I see. Then some 7.25 million Ghana cedis cash withdrawal by Kwabena Edoboahen himself, you reported. And this payment came out of the second transfer of 21 million from the BNC of National Security to the BNC that is his private company. Right? What was this 21 million meant for?
So this is what the transaction looks like. So Mr. Edoboahen, who is the director of the BNC, informed the government that this equipment is $7 million.
I see.
Okay. Now, you would expect that the entire $7 million will be paid to the sellers of the equipment or the software. Now, this $7 million, only 25% was actually paid. And our understanding of that is that the equipment probably, actually cost 25% of the amount that was taken from government. So the remaining 75% is what you see being moved from one account to the other, up to the purchasing of these properties and other properties that we have not yet listed.
Oh, so this is not all the properties?
These are just the landed. These are the landed properties. There are vehicles that are part of this. And this is not the entire list of the properties we have. These are the ones that we have verified.
Okay, so the verification is ongoing?
It's ongoing.
For
some of the
others.
properties we believe are in the UK.
That's apart from the two buildings you
some
allege
we believe
that
are outside of Greater Accra region.
I see. So what we are seeing here is what is in the Greater Accra region.
That is so.
They are the ones allegedly bought outside of Greater Accra region. You are still verifying.
We are yet to go and verify it. Yeah.
But this is what his lawyers are saying. And in fact, even before we get into that statement, apart from his lawyers, there are many who hold the view that for you, addressing the press conference and assuming that some of these cases are an open and shut case because of the evidence you have before you, and saying that you're going to be shocked if any court pronounces otherwise, is you being prejudicial and you determining the cases in the public domain, and you are turning the public against the court, because if any other outcome apart from what you are expecting is pronounced, then the public will start questioning the courts again. Why do you do this?
I think let's not miss the point. Every attorney general, every prosecutor, when going to court, have only one statement to make, and that is the only valid statement you can make, is that with the evidence I have, I expect to have a conviction. The moment you are a prosecutor and you cannot make that statement to yourself or to any other person, then you have no business going to court. So the impression being created as though the Attorney General is a judge who can make statements to prejudice his own case. It's neither here nor there. If you're an Attorney General, if you're a prosecutor, it is actually expected of you to state that you have evidence which will lead to conviction. That is why the makers of law did not make the Attorney General the judge. That is why they have an independent arbiter who will look at what the Attorney General is saying and will compare with what the defense is saying to come to a conclusion whether a crime has been committed. So this whole idea that the Attorney General stating that he will have conviction with the evidence, he's satisfied with the level of evidence he has to go to court, is prejudicial. It's neither here nor there, and it's only, I believe, it's a calculated attempt to confuse the issues.
But the conviction or otherwise is left to the courts. It's the power of the courts.
That doesn't stop anyone from saying that I'll have a conviction. If I come and I encroach on your property and you take me to court, what are you saying? You're basically saying that my coming onto the property is against the law and that you will win when you go to court. And when I come in and I oppose your case, what I'm also saying is that you will not win. It is expected of any adversarial system to see that one party is saying I will win, the other party is saying I will not win. One party saying that Attorney General is a party in the suit. He's not the judge. He's a party in the suit. He's the one doing the prosecution. So if the Attorney General says that I will win a case, how on earth would you interpret that to mean that the Attorney General is being prejudicial?
Well, but then again, you're speaking based on the facts available to you. But it must be proven beyond reasonable doubt in court.
That's exactly the situation. And that is why nobody should be worried that the person who is taking the case to court is saying that I will win the case.
But then again,
if the Attorney General cannot say that I will win the case, he cannot tell the people who have employed him and who have sent him to occupy the office that he's occupying. If he cannot tell the people that where I have reached with the investigation, the evidence I have is sufficient for me to secure a conviction, if he cannot make that statement, then what is his business coming out to even start the case in the first place? So the point I'm trying to make is that you may disagree with the Attorney General's assessment of the evidence. It may even turn out at the end of the day that maybe for some technical reason, this evidence may not even be admissible to start with. But at this point, the Attorney General is informing you, and I think we need to accept that the Attorney General has the mandate and the power, and he has every reason to say that I will win the case if I go with this level of evidence. That cannot be a complaint to anybody to say that the Attorney General has been, and is it the first time we are hearing any Attorney General say that he will win a case based on the evidence he has?
Well, the other view held by, for instance, the former Deputy Attorney General Victoria Boao says that, well, at the point that they came out to speak to the media or give media updates is not when the trial is yet to begin. In most cases, the trial would have begun, and so you are taking a different approach.
No, that is an insignificant distinction. It is even worse. It is even worse when you are taking the case to court and you are now even making such commentaries. If indeed the statement that I'll win the case is prejudicial, then it's even worse when you are actually in the trial and you keep making it. So his distinction is actually worse and is insignificant in this matter. The point is that he, in any case, when the Japa case was going on, he was granting an interview. What was he saying? Was he not insisting
that was mostly after the court hearing?
And I'm saying that if it is prejudicial before the court hearing, how would it be less prejudicial during the case when evidence is being led? That is even worse. So he cannot in any way be the one to take this. And look, the people of this country gave us power to as Attorney General. The power you are exercising is not for you. It is for the people of this country. The money we are even looking for, all these things that we are saying, are even public properties. Why is it wrong to inform the general public that, look, this is what we have found, this is what we are using the power which we are exercising on behalf? Is it wrong now? Is it wrong in democracy to maintain transparency? We are here as what? People serving the people of Ghana. And it must be done with all sense of transparency. And I'm telling you that, look, I mentioned to you, we have, the investigators have, in all this oral situation, more than 50 persons have been interrogated. More than 50 persons have been arrested. We have never come out to say anything about this. The only instances where you see some of these things coming out is when the minority hold press conference. Look, when we went to Dr. Addison's house, we have finished, the operation had been done long before the minority leader went to the house to take a picture and pose with the governor and put it out there. We were never going to put that out because we know how injurious that situation could be. All the people, there have been people who have been invited, they have been arrested, they've been interrogated, they gave the answers, they are home. Nobody even knew that they even came to us because we respect the rights of the people to privacy even while the trial is going on. So it is strange that these people, I mean, people who are already complaining that maybe what they want is that the Attorney General office should be, the state should be quiet so that they will have the field day and say. I see,
but to the extent that the others also hold the view that these persons are innocent until proven guilty, is it not?
Of course, that is the situation. That is what it is.
So putting out so much information about them and whatever dealings they are involved in, does that not also, as it were, paint them in a certain picture in the eyes of the public? You're more like trying the case in the court of public opinion before it even starts in the court of law.
Alfred, you may call it public opinion. You may think that this is so much evidence, but trust me, this is not even 50% of the evidence we have. We've not listed, have we put out the names of the companies? Have we put out the names of, I mean, the names of the other accused persons, the suspects? We have not. I told you there are more people than two in custody, which means that we are exercising a certain level of judgment in what we should put out and what we should not put out. It is rather unfortunate that the things that we don't want to put out are the things that the minority is putting out and is actually fighting for us to put out. And my point is that we cannot be stampeded in putting every information out. The Attorney General has a good sense of judgment. He is aware of privacy rights of people, and he will not do something that he knows will be unlawful or something that he knows will be unjustifiably, harmful to persons' reputation who are in the process of criminal trial. So I mean, there is nothing really to worry about. These facts are facts that we have. These are evidence-based facts. It is not just a mere suspicion or allegation. We have given you receipts amount. We have given you account numbers. There are so many things that could be given, some of which we are keeping. So if someone thinks that this is a lot of evidence, that is not even correct. There's more evidence than you have
more
seen.
than what you have put out today?
And there's more than that.
I see.
I've told you, suspects are about 15. Others have been arrested. Others have been interrogated. Others have been, discharged. So
let me read to you the first part of the statement from his lawyers, because a number of the questions I've asked are the concerns his lawyers raised. But this is the first part. It says that your boss, our Attorney General of the realm, Dr. Dominic Ayine, in his reset version of the rule of law and romancing we the press, pronounced their clients, that's Governor Dubois and his wife, Angela, guilty of state looting in the court of public opinion and cheapened the press conference by saying their clients are still being investigated by IOCO. How do you respond to this?
Alfred, I would prefer not to respond to this statement.
Why?
Because I believe that every Ghanaian who could read or write will have also the capacity to pass a judgment on the usefulness of this statement. It will not be me telling someone how useful or unuseful this statement is. So with so much respect, I will want to desist from anything that has to do with this particular statement.
The investigation continues.
It continues unabated. We are focused. We are not going to be distracted by this statement. At least my reading of the statement doesn't show that there's any denial or any denial of anything. It's a prose. I won't pass any comment on it.
Dr. Justice Adam Shams, I thank you very much for joining us. And this is not the only conversation we'll have, the first of many to come, because you want to keep the viewers and, in fact, the Ghanaian people updated every step of the way in what you're doing. So we'll see how things play out in the coming days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
And thank you to you as well for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. The press conference addressed by Dr. Dominic Ayine earlier today is going to be played in full right after this, just for the benefit of those of you who couldn't watch when we broadcasted live earlier today as well. I am Alfred Ocansey. This Ghana Tonight, as always, brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, and Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Happy Smile. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.